Praise the Lord and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's honestly deeply personal for pretty much all of us. We're going to discover exactly how to find profound meaning even when you're feeling completely exiled, totally alone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you joining me today. We're digging into a truly fascinating ancient narrative. And what I just love about this particular text is how incredibly relevant it still is to our modern lives right now. We're looking at a story of isolation, of running away, and ultimately, a massive, life-altering awakening. Okay, let's jump right into this.
We're exploring this ancient text today not just as dusty history, but really as our shared human story. Think of it as a masterclass in navigating those major life transitions and seeking some kind of divine connection, especially in our everyday, sometimes grueling routines. When we say, "Praise the Lord," it's not just some standard greeting, right? It's a real recognition that there's a grander design at play here, even when we feel like we're just wandering aimlessly.
So our entire journey today is grounded right here in the text of Genesis 28. We are stepping directly into the dusty shoes of a guy named Jacob, and Jacob is at a massive pivot point in his life. He is leaving literally everything he knows. Have you ever actually felt that way? Like you've been totally forced out of your comfort zone and you're just stepping into a complete void? Well, that is exactly where Jacob is as this source text opens.
The actual catalyst for his journey is pretty fascinating. The text tells us that Jacob's father Isaac calls for him, blesses him, and gives him a very, very strict command. He says, "Do not marry a Canaanite woman." He tells Jacob to go once to Paddan Aram, to his mother's family, to find a wife. But here's the thing, it's not just a matchmaking trip. Isaac actually passes on the massive blessing of Abraham to Jacob. We're talking a blessing for immense numbers of descendants and for the possession of the very land where he's currently just residing as a foreigner. So Jacob is sent away. He's carrying the heavy weight of a generational legacy, but he's traveling completely alone.
Let's move to the next part of the text and see how this builds, because there is a super fascinating subplot unfolding here. While Jacob actually obeys his parents' direct instructions and heads out, his brother Esau is watching all of this go down. Esau realizes that his own Canaanite wives are, well, highly displeasing to his father. So what does Esau do? He reacts completely impulsively. He goes straight to Ishmael and marries Mahalath, Ishmael's daughter, basically adding her to the wives he already has, trying to somehow patch up this fractured relationship with his dad. This brings us to a crucial point, understanding Esau's reaction. I like to call this the extra credit trap. Think about it with a simple everyday analogy. Esau's reaction is exactly like a student failing a math test, right? And then they try to make up for it by doing extra credit in history class. It completely misses the core point of the original instruction. Isaac wanted them to avoid Canaanite wives entirely. Esau thinks adding a totally different wife to the mix is somehow going to fix the root problem. It is a brilliant example of how we often try to manufacture our own messy, quick-fix solutions when we feel like we've fallen short, instead of just addressing the actual issue. Meanwhile, let's jump back to Jacob. He's left Beersheba and is on this exhausting, lonely journey toward Haran. He reaches a certain place, and because the sun is already set, he just has to stop for the night. He is entirely vulnerable out there, and the detail the text gives us here is just striking. He is forced to use a literal stone for a pillow. I mean, just imagine the sheer physical discomfort, perfectly matching the emotional turmoil of leaving his entire family behind.
Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. This literal stone pillow perfectly represents those hard places or rock-bottom moments we all face in our real lives. Maybe for you, a stone pillow looks like a sudden, out-of-nowhere job loss. Or, maybe it's a painful breakup or a scary medical diagnosis that just leaves you reeling. It's those exact moments where you are stripped of your comforts and you're just feeling totally exhausted, isolated, and sitting alone in the dark.
But right here, in this darkest, most uncomfortable moment, something absolutely incredible happens. Jacob falls asleep, and he has a profound dream. He sees this magnificent stairway resting right there on the dusty earth, with its top reaching all the way up into heaven. And on this stairway, the angels of God are actively ascending and descending. It's literally a flurry of divine activity right in the middle of absolute nowhere. You can really think of this stairway as a divine hotline. It's a brilliant, everyday analogy showing us that heaven and earth are always intimately connected. The communication lines are wide open. Even when we feel utterly stranded on our own stone pillows, totally isolated from everything we love, we're actually sitting right at the foot of this incredible divine infrastructure. The spiritual realm is actively, constantly intersecting with our physical reality.
And this brings us to the real climax of the dream. Up there, above the stairway, stands the Lord himself. And he gives Jacob this incredible, sweeping promise. He identifies himself as the God of Abraham and Isaac, and he promises to give Jacob the exact land he's lying on. He promises descendants as numerous as the dust of the earth, but the absolutely most crucial part of this whole promise is this. He says, "I'm with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you."
God's promise to be with you wherever you go is honestly the absolute ultimate comfort for our modern anxieties. Let's make this totally concrete for a second. Whether you are dealing with a paralyzing fear of moving to a new city where you don't know a single soul, starting some daunting new career path, or just feeling separated from your family like Jacob was, this ancient text speaks directly into that exact fear. It guarantees presence in the midst of the unknown. God isn't just staying back at home, he is actively traveling into the terrifying unknown right alongside him.
Now what happens next is just beautiful. Jacob wakes up from his sleep completely awestruck. He actually says, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." He is terrified and amazed all at once, declaring, "How awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." He suddenly realizes that what he thought was just a lonely, God-forsaken rock in the middle of nowhere was actually the absolute epicenter of divine presence. His perspective completely flips upside down.
And he doesn't just, roll over and go back to sleep. Early the next morning, he takes that exact same hard stone he used as a pillow, the ultimate symbol of his discomfort and isolation, and he sets it up as a sacred pillar. He pours oil right on top of it, consecrating it, and he powerfully transforms the identity of this desolate place. The text actually notes the city used to be called Luz, but Jacob renames it Bethel, which translates directly to the house of God. He took his place of deepest pain and recognized it as a place of profound purpose.
So how does Jacob actually respond to all of this? He doesn't just marvel at the crazy dream and walk away. He turns that revelation into action by making a vow. He says, if God will be with him, watch over him, and just give him the basic necessities like food to eat and clothes to wear so he returns safely, then the Lord will be his God. He takes this massive, cosmic spiritual experience and translates it directly into a practical, daily framework, completely relying on God for his everyday survival.
Based on Jacob's incredible response here, we can pull 3 actionable steps for your own daily application. Step 1 is to acknowledge the divine. Just as Jacob woke up and said, "Surely the Lord is in this place," you need to wake up and consciously acknowledge that God is present right now in whatever your current struggle is. When you're sitting in a tense hospital waiting room or facing a literal mountain of bills, just stop and acknowledge it. The divine hotline is open right here, right now.
Let's move to step 2. Just as Jacob physically set up that stone pillar and poured oil on it, you need to create a tangible, physical reminder in your daily environment to really anchor your faith when life gets incredibly hard. Maybe it's a specific quote you frame on your desk. Maybe it's just a small stone you carry in your pocket or a piece of art in your hallway. You need a visual cue that snaps you right out of your anxiety and reminds you of the promise that you are definitely not walking alone.
Finally, step 3 mirrors the very end of Jacob's vow in the source text. He says that, of all God gives him, I will give you a tenth. This is a daily commitment to show that true gratitude isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It requires an active, tangible giving back of our resources. Whether that's giving your time, your energy, or your finances, acknowledging God's provision means participating in an encouraging, ongoing cycle of generosity. It's essentially saying, you provided my food and clothes, so I am beautifully compelled to give back a portion to honor you. So as we wrap up our analysis of this really amazing text, as you look at your own stone pillows and difficult, isolating seasons, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder today. If God is in this very place, right in the middle of your hardest challenge, are you awake enough to see it? Or are you just complaining about how hard the pillow is? The gate of heaven might literally be right where you are sitting right now.
Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. I absolutely love unpacking these explainer texts with you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue uncovering these transformative truths together.